Southwest Silverhawks are flying under the radar, heading into the state tournament for the first time since 2012, finishing their run by making history. We take a look at their matchups through the 2017 state tournament and talk to several players about the postseason in this special edition of High School Roundup. Hello and welcome to a special edition of High School Roundup as we take a look at the Class A girls state champion Lincoln Southwest Silverhawks. I'm Megan Scolio, and over the next half hour we'll break down the Silverhawks' road to their title and hear from some of the people that made it happen. We'll start with their opening round tilt against the Millard West Wildcats, a team Lincoln Southwest has never beaten before and lost to just 2 weeks prior to this game. Spectrum Sports' Andy Chavez breaks down the Hawks' first round game.
Lincoln Southwest opened the tournament with a date with Millard West, and the Silverhawks were reminded all week long how their last meeting with the Wildcats went just 2 weeks prior.
Oh, it was on the scoreboard at all practice. All week it was on the scoreboard. We did not want to relive that game.
Southwest jumped out to an early 14-8 lead after one, thanks in part to Jaden Ferguson, who scored 8 of her 14 points in the quarter.
We said, you know, you're kind of rolling with house money now. Go out there, play loose, play free, trust your teammates, play for the person next to you. And that's what they did. They were very loose all day today, and we thought that was a really good sign.
Millard West took control in the second quarter, however, and led the Hawks 23-21 at the half.
They came out and we told them they needed to be tougher on the boards. We told them that they needed to trust what they were doing offensively, and that's what they did.
After the halftime chat, the Wildcats' lead grew to 8, but that's when Hannah Kelly took over. After scoring only 1 point in the first half, Kelly scored 19 of her game-high 20 in the second, and the Silverhawks opened up a 6-point lead.
We talked a little bit earlier this week. I told her, I said, I need you to be more aggressive offensively because she's only been taking about 5 or 6 shots a game, and I said, you need to get a few more. I said, you got the green light, and if you're open, let it fly.
I felt like since we were down at halftime and I had only 1 point, I got a little mad at myself because I felt like I needed to take over, and so that's what I did.
In the final period, Millard West regained the lead on a Hana Leo 3, but that's when the Hawks caught fire, going on a 12-0 run before closing out the Wildcats 59-51.
All year, somebody on this team has stepped up and made plays when we've needed them, and that's what happened tonight. And usually it's somebody different, and tonight it was Hannah stepping up and making big plays.
I got more confident, and then my shots kept going in, and then I just started working my butt off.
Joining me now to break down that matchup are senior Alex Barada and sophomore Jaden Ferguson. So Southwest hasn't been to the state championship game ever, and state tournament since 2012. So what was your mindset like heading into that tournament?
I think we were really excited to play there. We'd worked for this all season, and it was good to finally get there, and then to win it and be the first team ever for Southwest just was a deal breaker.
Jane, what was the mindset like with this team? Were you guys excited, nervous?
I think we were all excited and we were nervous at the same time, but we were mainly excited because we knew we had the potential to win the state tournament and do great things there.
So Millard West was a team you guys saw just 2 weeks before. It was the last team you lost to. What was the difference between that game and the second time you saw them?
I think the first game we just didn't play our best. We knew we didn't play good, and coming to play them again at state was another chance to get them back.
And Coach said that the scoreboard had that score all week long. What did that do for you guys?
It really pushed us. We knew we hadn't played our best in that game, and we didn't really take driving opportunities the first time we played them, and that just really pushed us to show that we need to go out there and drive and push and score.
And you opened up strong, but Millard West was able to come back and take the lead heading into the half, then took an 8-point lead early in the third quarter. What were you thinking at that point, Alex?
I knew I needed to step up and make more plays. They were coming out strong, and we knew they weren't going to back down second half, so we needed to keep pushing.
And it was close in the fourth, but then you guys went on a 12-0 run. Hannah Kelly had 7 points during that time. What did you see from her?
I knew she had hit her first 3, and I knew she was on that night, and I just kept passing it out to her whenever I saw her out of the corner of my eye open, and she was really just driving and taking all the opportunities.
How are you guys feeling after you got that first win in the state tournament?
Oh, we were feeling so good. We were like, we can do this. You know, we were playing Northeast the second game, so we were ready to play.
How about you, Jaden?
I mean, we were all ready to play, and we knew we wanted to play Northeast in the semifinal game, and we knew we could beat them.
All right. Well, the Silverhawks advanced to the semifinals to face the #1 seed Northeast Rockets. We take a look at that game next on High School Roundup.
At Southeast Community College, you can earn a degree in 2 years or less. With more than 50 programs to choose from, you can't go wrong. Get your hands-on at SCC.
Hopefully in a year from now I will see myself in a great job, hopefully working in power substations.
At SCC, we have a variety of career paths to follow: intercollegiate athletics, studying abroad, and so much more. Southeast Community College.
Hobbytown USA is your home for RC, toys, games, and now drones. We've got a great selection with competitive prices, and we're here to answer any of your questions.
Hobbytown USA, now with 2 great Lincoln locations, 70th and Pioneers and 33rd and Cornhusker.
Welcome back to our High School Roundup special as we continue to break down Lincoln Southwest's incredible run. The Class A state semifinal showdown featured a matchup with crosstown rival and #1 seed Northeast, a team that Silverhawks lost to twice during the regular season, the first time by 26, the second by 18. Spectrum Sports' Tyler Hedrick has a recap of the game.
Southwest back in the state semifinals for just the second time in program history. The Silverhawks looking to avenge a pair of regular season losses to Northeast.
We just knew everything was on the line and we had to come out strong if we wanted to win this game, both second half and first half.
Southwest led by 1 point at the break and continued to lead early in the third quarter, thanks to sophomore Jaden Ferguson. She led the Hawks with 21 points.
Our post attacked a lot more tonight than we have in the games previous, and I think that helped because they was able to get shooters like me open.
Northeast responded after that. Nigeria Jones and McKenna Minter combined for 45 points on the night and gave the Rockets a 46-44 lead after 3.
What we wanted to do with Minter was try and get her going to her left and try and force her to take shots outside of 6 to 8 feet. She's a great scorer, but I think she's a volume scorer sometimes. You know, it's on a lot of shots.
Their pressure is so intense. Their press is so hard to break, but our point guard, Emerson, my sister, just had so much confidence, and that helps so much.
Southwest trailed for most of the fourth quarter until senior guard Alex Barada broke open a 55-all tie with back-to-back buckets with less than a minute to play.
I was so lucky it went in. I was just so happy.
Southwest went on to upset the 1 seed 65-61 the final.
We just kept our composure and kept fighting, kept attacking the basket, made some shots, and came out with the win.
But the kids have believed in themselves, like I said, since the middle of the season. And, you know, we kind of came into this saying somebody's got to win, why not us?
All right, Alex, I heard you say this was your favorite game. Tell me why.
You know, Northeast, I've never beat Northeast in my high school career, so it was so special to do it at state and in the semifinals to go to the championship game.
Jaden, this was a team you guys struggled against the first 2 times you saw them. So what was the attitude like with the team going into that game?
I mean, we knew we had to drive to the basket and play tough to beat them because they're a tough team defensively and offensively, and we just knew we had to play tough.
Now, the two of you combined for 41 points. What was working for you that night?
I think we were just taking advantage of all the opportunities we got and saw on the floor. I think that really helped us.
Jaden, what do you think?
I mean, we used the post early on, and they got the ball inside to me, Hannah, and Reagan, and then they started collapsing down, and we kicked it out to Alex and Hannah when she was on the outside, and we were making our shots.
What was going through your mind when McKenna Minter tied it up at 55?
Yeah, that made me a little nervous. You know, you got to guard her. She's a good player, and she'll make those shots. So, yeah, I was a little nervous, but I knew we could come back.
What did you think?
I was confident in our offense at that point, and we knew we could drive and could hit shots at that moment.
And Alex, you hit 2 buckets, one of which was a 16-footer to pull ahead 59-55 Within the final minutes of the game, how are you feeling at that point?
Yeah, I knew I was feeling it that game, so I really wanted to take the shots when I had them to help my team win it.
And you upset the Class A favorites, punching your ticket to the state tournament. What does that win mean to you?
I mean, it was a great win for us. It gave us a boost of confidence going into that final game, and I think that really helped us with our win against Millard South.
What was the message after the game?
Well, we had our itinerary, and we ripped it off every day we won. And so finally ripping off the second page to beat Northeast and then to go to the championship, just felt so good.
Well, coming up after the break, we catch up with the head coach of the state champs.
Get your hands-on at Southeast Community College. Find a career track that's right for you, and you won't go into a lot of debt.
I chose non-destructive testing because there are job opportunities all over the country, and I'm able to do something that's more hands-on.
Each year, more than 90% of SCC graduates find jobs in their chosen field or transfer to a 4-year school. Southeast Community College with campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford. What are you waiting for?
The Royals enter 2017 with renewed optimism, motivation, and a sense of urgency, knowing this could be the last year of their core players in Royal Blue. We're in Surprise to break down this year's roster, hear the players' thoughts on the upcoming season, meet the new free agents filling some big shoes, see which rookies are turning heads, and Dayton Moore and Ned Yost provide insight into the makeup of this year's club. It's the 2017 Royals Report, Monday night, March 6th at 7 p.m.
Welcome back to this special edition of High School Roundup featuring the Lincoln Southwest Silverhawks. I'm now joined by the Silverhawks head coach, Jeff Rump. Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Well, this was your team's first trip to the state tournament. How did you prepare them for what was ahead?
We talked to the kids a lot about, one, how hard it is to get to state, and we put a big emphasis on when the horn goes off, be ready to play, but all the time in between, really soak in and enjoy the atmosphere because there's no guarantees you're ever going to get back there, and it is a great experience for the kids.
Now let's start with the Millard West matchup. After that game, you had mentioned you talked to Hannah Kelly earlier in the week. What did you tell her?
I talked to her about being a little bit more aggressive offensively, and she kind of waited till the second half to have that come to fruition. It was a matchup that we really kind of liked, because they just beaten us by 21, and we kind of thought, okay, we didn't play very well that night, and another shot at them we were really looking forward to.
Now, you mentioned too that prior to the week leading up to that game, you left that score on the scoreboard during practice. Tell me a little bit about that.
That was Coach Schrod's idea. He put that score up on the scoreboard, and it was there every day of practice, and we made reference to it quite often. And I think the girls, they understood that they didn't play very well in that game, and they really liked that matchup too, so they were excited about it.
Now, Hannah Kelly, Alex Barada, and Jaden Ferguson all finished with double figures in that game. What did you see from them?
Kind of what we started to see towards the end of the year. We kind of talked all year that if we could get 40 points or so out of our big three, that the other kids would do what they do, and that would carry us. And we saw that in our district games, those three came through, and then in state the same way, and I think we got almost 50 out of those three, and we'd be pretty tough if those kids score 50 every night.
Now next up was the #1 seed Northeast, a team you played twice during the regular season and lost to both times. So what was the biggest difference from those previous two matchups to that game?
Well, in the first matchup in the HAC tournament, we were pretty short-handed. Emerson had gone down the night before with a concussion. We had some kids, one of our kids went to the bowl game. We had another kid with a sprained ankle. Another was out of town for another reason. So we had about 6 healthy players that night, and we got pasted pretty good. Then the game at their place, I thought it was a really close game outside of about 4 or 5 possessions, and then they kind of stretched it out at the end. And we went in the locker rooms afterwards, and the kids were kind of disappointed because they were looking forward to that game. But we just told them that we're really close to being the kind of team we want to be. And it was interesting because Coach Barada just looked at him and said, hey, here's the deal. The next time we see Northeast, it's either going to be in the semifinals or finals at state, and we'll win that game. And I think the kids started to believe that as the season went on. So for us, that was kind of another matchup that we were looking forward to, and strange as it may seem, we were kind of hoping for that one.
Now, free throws were really key in that game. Is that something you put a lot of emphasis on during practice?
we put emphasis on it. I don't know that it was doing very good through the season. We were shooting at about 56% as a team going in. But we also, in the fourth quarter, had been more up around 70-75% because we got the ball to the kids who are solid free throw shooters. Jaden's been a 75% free throw shooter all year. Alex in the upper 60s. Hannah, who had been struggling at the free throw line, really sort of came on during the state tournament.
Now, your team was heading to the state tournament for the first time ever, or the state championship game, rather. How were they handling it prior to tip-off?
I think the same way we handled everything. I think what was key for us is we never talked about winning the state championship. We talked about each game, enjoying each game, and I think the kids really liked the fact that they got a chance to play one more time with a group of girls that they really, really liked.
What was your message to the team heading into the game?
Well, basically after we won the first game and then going to the second game, we sort of took a why not us mantra. And that's kind of where we were. Like, we're here, why not us? We're as good as anybody else is. And as the game went on, first quarter when we were down 17-6, you know, you kind of start to think, well, it was a pretty good run. And then as we kind of held them and got back in the game at 17-14, I felt really, really good.
Now, they scored the first couple of points, but then went 4 from 19 from the field, 0 for 5 from three-point. What were you thinking at that point?
I was thinking if we could hold it close at the half. We made a defensive switch going into the second quarter. We went from our regular sort of pack line man to started switching all the screens, and that really sort of, I don't know, baffled them, I guess is the best word. And they weren't getting that penetration and kick that they were getting. And because of that, we held them scoreless for 7 minutes, and then we clawed back in by free throws, by pounding the ball inside and doing things that we like to do.
Now, Millard South held the ball for the final 2 minutes of regulation. What were you thinking?
I was thinking if I was on the other side, I'd have done the same thing. If you could tell me that you're going to let me hold the ball for 2 minutes, you're not going to come out and guard me, and I get a chance to either win or go into overtime, I would have taken that. Coach Barada and I talked around a minute that we were thinking maybe we need to come out and pressure him, and we were going to do that at 45 seconds, but then it's so loud in there, I didn't think the kids would hear, and the last thing we wanted was to have 4 kids here and 1 not, and give up a real easy basket because we just weren't defensively doing what we're principled to do.
Now the game goes to overtime. What did you tell your team?
Just how much fun it was. You know, we talked about that here we are in the state championship game and we get to play 4 more minutes. And I think it was about that time that as a coaching staff we started to think, we might be able to win the state championship.
What went through your mind? You guys won the first ever high school girls state basketball championship for Southwest.
It's still a little bit unbelievable. You know, you look at the trophy. I go up I have a big space above my garage where I keep a lot of mementos, and I'm putting all this stuff up there now, and it still is kind of surreal a little bit, but in a good way.
Now you have a pretty young team, but there are a few seniors. What have they meant to you this year?
All 4 of the seniors did a great job leadership-wise. Alex was kind of our coach on the floor. She was the one who always rallied the kids after every timeout. She would huddle them and tell them, you know, we can do this, we've got it. Bethany Shield was kind of our spiritual leader. She really accepted her role as a defensive player this year and took a lot of pride in that. And then Tessa Clarence and McKenna Widholm, they were both great practice players and role players. And we stress all the time that there is no role that's bigger than another role, and they're all extremely important for a team to be successful.
All right, well, thanks, Coach. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at the exciting overtime victory that led to the big win for Southwest. That's next on High School Roundup.
At Southeast Community College, you can earn a degree in 2 years or less. With more than 50 programs to choose from, you can't go wrong. Get your hands-on at SCC.
Hopefully in a year from now I will see myself in a great job, hopefully working in power substations.
At SCC, we have a variety of career paths to follow: intercollegiate athletics, studying abroad, and so much more. Southeast Community College.
Hobbytown USA is your home for RC, toys, games, and now drones. We've got a great selection with competitive prices, and we're here to answer any of your questions.
Hobbytown USA, now with 2 great Lincoln locations, 70th and Pioneers and 33rd and Cornhusker.
Major League Soccer kicks off, and Spectrum Sports is there.
He takes it into the box, cuts it back right, Phillips, and it's in! Oh, what a goal!
We survey the latest news from around the league with host Brad Porter and the experts.
Thank you very much. Over here with the Center Circle Gang, Nick Garcia and Andy Edwards.
Who's losing steam? And who's finding the net?
Oso with a goal! What a start for the Impact!
Center Circle, Tuesdays at 5:30, only on Spectrum Sports.
So after the Silverhawks' big upset over the #1 seed Lincoln Northeast, a date with the 2 seed Millard South Patriots was up next. Like Northeast, Millard South was consistently one of the top teams in the state, which means Lincoln Southwest would have their hands full in the state championship game. Spectrum Sports' Andy Chavez explains.
The Lincoln Southwest Silverhawks took the court in a state championship game for the first time in school history, and thanks to Jaden Ferguson, jumped out to an early 4-0 lead. But Millard South would answer with a 14-2 run to end the first, and the Patriots led 14-6 after 1. The Silverhawks had trouble finding the hoop the entire first half, shooting only 21% from the field and going 0 for 5 from behind the arc. But the Hawks only trailed by 3 at the half thanks to some solid defense.
17-14, and kind of felt like it was a bad football game. We were looking for someone to make a field goal at halftime. But I love the defensive effort, you know, and that's where we made our mark kind of all year with our man-to-man defense.
In the third, Millard South opened up a 7-point lead, but Hannah Kelly, Alex Barada, and the Southwest Silverhawks found their stroke, scoring more points in the third than they had the entire first half, and tying the game up heading into the final period. Southwest reclaimed the lead for the first time since being up early, when Alex Barada hit a deep 3 to give the Hawks a 37-36 lead, but the Patriots wouldn't go away. With the score tied at 47, Millard South brought the ball up the court, then proceeded to hold the ball for the final 2 minutes of regulation before failing to get the shot off, sending the game to overtime.
Coach Barada and I talked about whether or not we wanted to sort of come out and extend the pressure a little bit at about 45 seconds. And then as we were thinking about it, we didn't feel like anybody could probably hear us anyway. And we probably would have given up something we didn't want to give up, so we just trusted them to play good defense. The more it went down, it looked like they were going to get into a situation where they were a little scattered and not get a good look, and that's eventually what happened.
In overtime, Millard South attempted to stall again, but this time the Hawks found an opportunity to make a play. Emerson Barada gained possession and got the ball to Hannah Kelly, who drove in for the layup, giving Southwest the lead, 51-49, with under a minute to go.
Emerson's kind of sly like a fox. She will size you up the whole game, and at the right time, she'll take it away from you, and that's kind of what happened there.
It's one you always dream of when you're little, is making the basket to go ahead in the state championship game, and so it's just, for me, it was just another layup. So I wasn't looking to get fouled, I was just looking to make the layup.
For the Silverhawks, the name of the game was free throws. They were 24 of 31 from the line on the night, including 4 critical free throws late in overtime to put the game out of reach.
Overall, it had been kind of something that had been biting us as a team, shooting at about
56%. I mean, shooting, it's a confidence thing, and once it starts rolling, everybody steps up and starts making them then.
Once the final seconds ticked away in Southwest's 56-51 victory, the Silverhawks stormed the court, cut down the nets, and hoisted the championship trophy. It will be a cherished memory for the entire program, but it's especially special for senior Alex Barada, who transferred from Lincoln Southeast in the summer for the chance to play for her dad, assistant coach Tim Barada, and alongside her freshman sister, Emerson.
Oh, it means so much that we put it together at the end and came out with state title. Winning it with my sister and my dad on the sideline, oh, it means so much to me. I'm so happy.
Joining me now are senior Alex Barada and her sister, who happens to be a freshman, Emerson Barada. Let's start with looking at that game. The first half, it seemed like you guys were struggling offensively. What was going on?
Yeah, we just weren't hitting shots. Our defense was really good, and that's what kept us in the game. But we knew if we kept playing good defense, then our shots would eventually fall second half.
Now, Emerson, in overtime, they were trying to stall, but you were the one who got the steal, passed it to Hannah Kelly for the go-ahead layup. Tell me about that.
So I really just knew that I needed to get the steal and get a pass to Hannah. I knew that we had to get ahead and get a breaking point from the whole stalling and us not being able to get the shots and stuff. So.
Now, Alex, you were at Southeast for the last 3 years. So when did your decision to transfer to Southwest?
Yeah, last spring I made a decision. I knew my dad had got asked to coach, and my sister was planning on going there. And I just felt like that was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. It was an experience that I would never get back.
What was it like transferring to one of your rivals?
It was like going back home. I had grown up with all those kids, so it was sweet. I loved it. It was a good change for me.
Was it a difficult adjustment at all?
It really wasn't. It felt like home right away.
Emerson, what did it mean to have your older sister on the team with you?
You know, it was kind of an unexplainable feeling because she's one of my best friends, and to be able to play with her it's crazy. And to go to state and win it with her was so great.
And your dad's also part of the team, and he's an assistant coach. So just tell me what it's like having the whole family be a part of, especially a year like this.
Yeah, it was something so special. It was something that we could never get back. It was just so special, and I'm so glad I had the chance to experience it with both of them.
And for both of you, what does it mean to bring the first state girls basketball championship to Southwest?
It means so much. It means a lot for Lincoln basketball, especially, and for Southwest basketball making a return to state appearances.
Emerson?
So we grew up watching state basketball, and being able to win it for our school and be the first people to win it at our school was just crazy.
And what was your most memorable moment this season?
Probably beating Northeast in the semifinals. They have always dominated Lincoln basketball, and to finally beat them in the semifinals to go to the championship meant so much to me.
Emerson, how about you?
Probably the championship in the game against Northeast.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this edition of High School Roundup. Special thanks to Jeff Rump, Alex Barada, Emerson Barada, and Jaden Ferguson for joining me, and congrats on your state championship.
Thank you.
Hobbytown USA is your home for RC, toys, games, and now drones. We've got a great selection with competitive prices, and we're here to answer any of your questions.
Hobbytown USA, now with 2 great Lincoln locations, 70th and Pioneers and 33rd and Cornhusker.
The Royals enter 2017 with renewed optimism, motivation, and a sense of urgency, knowing this could be the last year of their core players in Royal Blue. We're in Surprise to break down this year's roster, hear the players' thoughts on the upcoming season, meet the new free agents filling some big shoes, see which rookies are turning heads, and Dayton Moore and Ned Yost provide insight into the makeup of this year's club. It's the 2017 Royals Report, Monday night, March 6th at 7 p.m.